I think we have to play a little bit of the long game. We can't come out racing for headless at the beginning of the game, trying to just seek 4 goals. I think we have to play smart. I think we also have to think long term in terms of setting ourselves up to play good soccer, how we want to play, taking in consideration all of the conditions that are there. That includes the scoreline. It includes the weather. Includes the field. Includes how the opposition will play us. We need to play smart. We need to try to work our way back into this series, just kind of 1 goal at a time. But we've got to play smart. We can't come out, mindless, like I said, and just chasing goals. We need to play wise and see if we can. I think if we can tick off one relatively early and start to build some momentum, then some good things can come out of it. It's going to be uncomfortable, I would think, for the opposition. So we just have to give them reason to doubt themselves on the night a little bit, but we've got to do so in a smart and calculated way.
How tough did it feel out there just training today? It's supposed to be a bit cooler tomorrow night.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure that you can ask Johnny more than me because he was moving around. But I think from a weather standpoint, I don't think there's really an issue. I think weather-wise, guys are okay. I think he'd probably be better to ask than I. So I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold for us, but for them even worse. So, but like Coach said, it's not an excuse or whatever for us. Whatever the conditions are, they are what they are, and we're prepared for that. And we're just focused on turning this around.
How do you find the pitch?
It's not the best pitch. It's not in the greatest condition, but it is what it is, and we'll have to deal with that. That is one of the things that definitely it'll be maybe a factor in the game. But we've trained on it today, and we have to go with the mindset that it is what it is, and we have to play through that.
Greg, do your sports science people give you any suggestions for what you can do with the players to prepare for temperatures like that? It's supposed to be what, I think, -10 something tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I think the biggest thing for us this week was to try to prepare for it as much as we could gradually. We obviously trained in the bubble, but we turned the heat off. We turned everything off. We tried to let the temperatures drop as much as we could. I think it's important that guys warm up well. That we get them, their body temperatures up as much as we can. Do those types of things. They talk to the guys. They prepare them in the ways that they see fit. Aside from that, I think once guys get going, and then I think it's as much a mindset as anything else, and not letting the cold weather kind of creep into your head and become a part of your thought process. You just got to kind of stay focused on the game, immerse yourself in the game, and maybe some of the cold will not be in there. But physically, there's some things that the guys, trying to keep warm in different ways, using whether it's the leggings or gloves or different things that we can get away with, along with just warming up appropriately and all that kind of good stuff. I don't know that there's a magic bullet per se in that. I think it's typical stuff. Not yet. I'm hoping that big heater thing that blows on me from not too far behind me will be somewhere in the vicinity, just because standing is the worst part of it all, and hopefully keeping the guys on the bench a little bit warm so that they're ready when they go in. I think that's, to be fair, I think it's probably one of the tougher jobs on the day, is to be sitting on the bench and then having to get up and get yourself going and get back on with the right mindset. But again, all of that aside, I think there's a mentality and an urgency and an understanding of the importance of the game tomorrow, which is nice to have at this point in the season. But we've also got to play in an intelligent way, and again, taking into consideration all the factors. You've mentioned one, which is the weather, but there are a number of factors that I think we've got to really be cognizant about as we approach this game tomorrow.
Jonathan, has the mood of the team changed at all since last Tuesday after the game? I mean, has it changed to from disappointment or anger to anything else at this point? Or?
It's changed in a positive way, I think, actually. I think this week was a good mentality. I think the game was definitely an eye-opener for us, for the group. You know, brought us back to earth, I think. And we realized, it's going to take a really hard work. And I thought we showed that this week in practice. The intensity was really good, and I thought it was what it needs to be for a game like this. Saying that, we have to play a game smart. We have 90 minutes to turn this around, but it's not impossible. It's been done around the world to better teams. So yeah, we're confident. I think this week was really good to prepare us for tomorrow.
Greg, it looked like Nick, Eric, and Drew were all in training today. Can you just give us an update on that? Will they be available tomorrow?
Drew and Nick will be available. Eric is probably a day or two away from being available. I think he'll be available by the weekend. He just hasn't done live defending in a big game situation. So that's his next progression, and then he should be ready to go. But I think the other guys have gone through all of those steps and are in good condition.
And I'm guessing Jersey won't be available tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a chance for the weekend, or are you thinking more?
I would say doubtful. He, again, just in terms of the training load and getting all those things accomplished, we're just not there yet, and we're not in a position that we're going to rush Josie into a scenario right now. So it's doubtful, but we'll see how the next 3 or 4 days go in terms of his progress.
Is he suffering a setback, or is he slow to recover from?
Yeah, he's had an irritation. It's if I'm speaking to it correctly, it's like a fat pad irritation in the knee, but it's nothing. Nothing that is anything other than an irritation where he's getting some pain, totally unassociated to the injury. But it was part of his return to action, maybe a change of surface going from the grass to the turf, maybe something that just irritated it, and we just need to get that irritation down, and he'll be ready to keep moving forward.
Greg, I know you don't make the schedule, but if you talk to anybody who doesn't follow the CONCACAF Champions League, they say they can't believe that anybody's playing soccer in weather conditions like this. I know it is what it is, but do you hope for a time when this competition can come at a time where you don't play during extreme cold alert?
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. I mean, I think if somehow the calendars between all the countries who are participating in this event can get a little bit more aligned, and it could look a little bit more, maybe spread out a little bit more over the course of a year, would be fantastic. I know there are a lot of challenges to that, so it's easier for me to sit up here and say that, but that would be wonderful. But there's a lot of different things I think that have to happen in order for that to go, and it may not even be possible. I don't have enough information, but it would be wonderful if it was somehow an event that was spread a little longer, started, once we got into our season a little bit, and the weather conditions were not so extreme in certain areas for sure. But when it's cold up here, or when it's nice here, it's going to be extremely hot somewhere else, probably in the summer. So there's a lot of variables that come into play, But it would be nice, but it's just, it's just not where we are yet as a region.
Do you worry about your players when you're playing in cold weather like that?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, we talked about this last year, I think, when we were playing in Colorado, and it was extremely cold that first game. So, yeah, there's always a little bit of a concern there. There's a concern when the guys go out on a field that is as heavily sandy as this field is. It's really heavy and sandy, and so these are all factors that don't play well for the game, and and there are things that our guys just have to work through and grind through, and we hope that they're physically prepared for them. They should be, but these are they're factors, they're variables that we've got to be ready for.
Greg, you talked about the pitch down there being slow. Does the sand out there, will it slow down this pitch?
Very much. Yep, very much. And we won't be capable of watering it because the temperature is so low that as soon as you turn the water on, it will turn to ice, and the field will become icy on the top. The sand will freeze. So it's, yeah, and the sand, as you see, as the ball rolls, the sand just kind of dovetails behind it, and it definitely pulls back on the ball a little bit, so it becomes a slow field. I don't know, if I'm being honest, if I could tell you that this field is slower than the last one, but it's close. It's a slow field. And look, it's a variable we have to address. That's what it is.
That was something that you were hoping that would be to your advantage, that the pitch up here would be quite a bit faster than it was at Panama.
Yeah, I was hoping, because we are a team that wants to have the ball move fast. We do a lot of stuff in 1 and 2 touch and things, guys making quick decisions, and the speed at which the ball moves is a big part of how we unbalance teams. We are not a team that goes dribbling around a lot and engaging and dribbling one-on-one. So it's a part of just our identity and how we've built our team and our mindset. But again, tomorrow we switch. We have to take it for what it is. We have to play wisely and take into consideration all the variables that exist, weather, field, all of those things.
Greg, given the situation here, what is it about the character of this team and sort of the past experiences this group has gone to that has you believing that this can be overcome?
Yeah, I think again, last year was a challenging year for a lot of people, and I think we draw upon that experience. We draw upon the successes that we've had. I think as a group, when you start to experience all of those emotions and all those experiences, and it will prepare you for different circumstances. Last year I think we dealt with the field that wasn't in great condition. This year, I didn't realize today when I showed up it would be quite so sandy. I was hoping it wouldn't, but look, we saw it, and now we've dealt with something similar last year, and we just have to be more open-minded to how we approach the field, the game, the circumstances. We can't be hard-headed and think we're going to play the way we love to play. It just isn't going to be, and I think our experiences last year have led us to that conclusion that we have to be open-minded and be willing to adapt in the situation. I think that's. And the mentality of our group is strong. Again, I reiterate what Johnny said. The guys have really competed this week. They have really bought into and saw what opportunities existed for us in the last game that maybe we didn't take advantage of, and some of the things that we didn't control the way we wanted to control. And so I think, all things considered, I think from an intensity standpoint and all those things, we saw what our deficiencies were, and the objective is to address those tomorrow. Look, we will play to turn this game around, but we're going to play it in a way that is intelligent for who we need to be as we progress as well as a team.
Greg, the team faced somewhat similar circumstances. This is long before you came to
Sure.
Toronto in 2009,
Yeah.
the Canadian Championship. They needed to win by 4 goals in the last game in Montreal, and everyone wrote them off. Obviously,
Sure.
we all know the history. I'm just wondering how aware of you are of that sort of history and that story, and have you sort of drawn on that this week to sort of motivate or influence the guys in any way?
No, not yet. I think some of those things are maybe a little bit for tomorrow as we go. We've talked a little bit about some mindset types of things. I think, as Johnny is alluded to, there's several situations, many situations around the world that have occurred where these types of results have turned in a big way. And so I think we have to understand, and I think the guys believe that. I don't think I have to convince them. I think we believe that. The key is to get off on the right foot. The key is to have the right mindset, mentality, and patience at the same time, urgency as we approach it. I don't know that I have to convince anyone in that locker room of what they're capable of. But I think I'll try to use every tool I can. And yes, I'm aware of the game. I think it's something we talked about back when we had to come back from the Montreal series in the playoffs. Okay. Yeah, when we had to come back from not a great start in Montreal there. And I think it's a game that maybe it was a Canadian Championship game, was it not? Not the one that you're referring to was a Canadian Championship game, yeah. So, we had referred to it. We'd actually watched a little bit of video on it then, not specifically this week, but in the past. That's how I'm aware of it as much as anything.
Jonathan, how many layers will you wear tomorrow? I mean, you want to be warm, but you don't want to be the Michelin man out there. What are you going to wear, do you think?
As much as I can to be warm, but to move. Listen, it is what it is. I'm interested to see how much layers their players wear. That's why I'm interested. So.
You played in South America, if not Central America. I mean, you know how, perhaps what they're used to. What do you think their reaction is when they get out there?
I think they'll be excited to see snow for the first time, maybe for some of them, but playing will be very difficult for them, for sure. I mean, for anybody, if someone's like normal, someone that's not used to a certain temperature and weather conditions, it's going to be a shock at first. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how they react to it, but we know it won't be comfortable for them, and we have to take advantage of that, and I think make sure that also the game and make the game also uncomfortable for them in the beginning, because if the weather could be bad, but if we don't bring the intensity or anything, it's going to give them life and make them believe. So if we can get on them early, that would be big. Then again, as professionals, you have to deal with whatever is in front of you, and I'm sure that they'll do that to the best of their ability.
Greg, you signed a goalkeeper. Can you tell us a little bit about Westberg and where you think he's going to fit in?
Yeah, we signed Quentin Westberg. He is an French American. He played for the U.S. youth national teams. He was on those teams with, I believe, Michael and Josie. And I came to know Quentin not so much personally, but that he was in France when I was in France. He was young, I think maybe 17, 18, and I heard about an American kid who was playing goalkeeper over there, and at that time he was under 17 or under 20 national team player. I think he was at Troyes at the time, and so that's kind of how I had come to know of him there. And I think whenever I was in France, I was always kind of paying attention to what other American players were doing there, and there weren't many of them, so it wasn't that difficult. There was, I think, 3 of us. So, and I just, kind of kept track of him. And to be honest, I lost track after a while. But as we started to look at goalkeepers and filling out our goalkeeper crew, I had heard that he might be interested in coming back over to the side, and that immediately interested me because has a lot of experience. He's a different type of goalkeeper than our group. He's a different type of goalkeeper than Alex. Not quite as big, but he's very good in the distribution. His feet are very clean. He's a very experienced goalkeeper as well. So for me, it's an interesting addition because he has some of the things that we would like Alex to continue to develop, and vice versa, which gives some variation to our group. It's not always the same, and so and they can help push each other in different ways. And I think his experience will help Alex as well. But I also think he is a viable candidate to push Alex for that first position. He's a player with, like I said, with a lot of experience, and comes to us sharp. He was playing games before he came, so. Look, they're all 3 in a battle to try to win a spot, but also to push each other as a team of guys who are there to make each other better. And I think he understands what that's about. He's gone through both roles as a starter, but also as a second. And so, I think I always look at our goalkeepers as they're a team, and they're there to make each other better and to prepare themselves to be behind our group.
He counts as a domestic or
Domestic.
An adjustment has this new system been in terms of the 4-3-3 and learning how to play with that Victor and Sebo?
No, the system not much. I think a lot of things are pretty similar as to what we want to do. There's certain movements and stuff that are a little bit different, but we've worked on that in preseason, and I don't think for the team has been a huge adjustment. To play without Seba and Victor, of course. I think for any team to lose 2 important players, it's always an adjustment. But we go on. We're moving forward now, and whatever's happened has happened, and we have with the players we have now, we go into tomorrow and try to fight to go on in this tournament.
Greg, along those same lines, have you sort of seen some progress from week to week in terms of how you want to see your team play on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I can't say it's week to week because I wouldn't take last week in Panama as a progress. I think it was I think we've had good moments, bad moments. I think, or learning moments, I would say, not just bad moments, but learning moments. I think it is, and it's not so much the system as understanding what is available to us when it's available to us, right? Because the principles on how we play don't change. We're still looking for the same things. We still, quite frankly, have people in the same types of spots that we did before. It's just recognizing that when teams play you different ways, different things open up. And, you know, I think last game, in particular, the way Panama played us, there were some spaces and some opportunities that open up, and we just didn't recognize them. And that's part of a process of understanding when a team sits back on you. If these players do this, behave like this, then this is what opens up. If they behave like this, then that opens up. But no matter what they do, there is a solution there. We just have to recognize the solution, and that's part of the beauty of, I think, when you tactically are all on the same page and you're all connected and it's flowing really smoothly, and everybody is kind of behaving from our perspective. If they do this, then we do this. If they do this, then we do this. And that's what I think attacking is about. And you can manipulate a little bit that way. And for us, we were actually in good spots, and we could have really, I think, hurt them. We just didn't recognize on the night exactly what those opportunities were, and that's something that we've looked at very closely this week. I think guys really have kind of seen it now, and you start to say, okay, and if this player acts differently in this situation, then this is what opens up. As long as we are finding good spots on the field for one another, the solutions are there, and now it's recognizing it. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a it's not going to just be a straight line to the top of our recognition. We're going to have some ups and downs in terms of recognizing those situations, taking advantage of them, executing. Because look, in the last game, we also got to the end line a number of times. We put balls across the face of the goal. At that point, the runs in the box weren't necessarily connected to where the crosser could put the ball, so we didn't get the final action right when we could have been dangerous. There's a lot of these things that they have to connect, you know, and to be fair, you mentioned Seba and Josie and Victor, and you know, these guys who have a lot of experience and a great education to understand and read situations, right? And that's why they are who they are, right? And so right now we're trying to teach another group of guys to recognize, and some of them are young, to recognize these same situations in a similar type of way, and that for them will take a little bit of time. But the solutions are there. That's what I look at. If the solutions aren't there, then we've got a problem in what we're doing. But the solutions are there. We just didn't recognize them in the time. That's learning, and that's teaching them to see that the same way.